Hello to all of you, wherever you are around the world, to everybody who's been supporting the Jane Goodall Institute this year, to major donors, to those who've helped us to get grants, to all those who have been supporting us faithfully for many years, for new members to our family, to the volunteers, to all of you who've really helped us. My deepest, deepest gratitude. And it's been a very strange year for all of us. For me, it began normally, just like usual. I got to Tanzania, visited friends, visited my family, went to Gombe, then spent a few days in Davos talking to decision makers, trying to influence them. Spent time in Abu Dhabi and in Germany. And that was the end of my normal touring season. It ended in the end of February. And since March, I've been grounded here in the UK. This epidemic, this pandemic, COVID-19, it's caused so much suffering, loss of life, loss of loved ones, and loss of jobs and economic chaos. And amidst all of this suffering, we've seen the human nature at its best, those on the front lines caring for patients, risking and losing their lives. The community spirit has been raised, where people are helping their neighbours in selfless ways. And somehow the dark times seem to bring out the best in some people. But the other silver lining to this pandemic is that more people understand that we brought it on ourselves. And we brought it on ourselves by our absolute disrespect of the natural world, forcing animals into close contact with people, invading their habitats, hunting and eating them, trafficking them around the world to sell in wildlife markets in Asia, bushmeat markets in Africa, selling them for food, skin, medicine, pets, and keeping billions of domestic animals crowded in cruel factory farms. In all of these situations, the animals are sentient beings who can feel fear and pain. And in all of these situations, we have created an environment that makes it really easy for a bacteria or virus to spill over from an animal to a person, where it may create a new disease. And COVID-19 almost certainly began in a wildlife market in China, just as HIV/AIDS began in a bushmeat market in Africa from eating contaminated chimpanzees. When I was grounded, we created a virtual Jane. I thought I was busy when I was on tour, traveling around the world. That was nothing compared to this. I feel exhausted at the end of every day, but again, a silver lining. I was able to reach millions more people in many more countries with what I believe is a really important message, and that is, as we emerge from this pandemic, as we shall, we must get together to tackle a far greater threat to our future, climate change. Already the effects of climate change are felt all around the world, changing weather patterns, worse storms, worse flooding, droughts and wildfires, melting ice and rising sea levels. And as with the pandemic, we have brought it on ourselves by our absolute disrespect of nature. People living in cities may feel that the destruction of the rainforests or the pollution of the ocean don't affect them, or the loss of biodiversity doesn't affect them, but it does. We are part of and we depend on the natural world. We know that burning fossil fuel releases CO2 into the atmosphere, adding to those greenhouse gases that are trapping the heat of the sun. But CO2 is also released when we destroy forests, and we destroy with the forest all the rich biodiversity that lives there. We depend on healthy ecosystems, all of us, for fresh water, clean air, for food, for clothing, for everything. And it was in the rainforest that I learned that all species of plants and animals are interconnected and form this rich tapestry of life. And that that biodiversity is what makes a healthy ecosystem. And each time a species becomes extinct, I see it tearing a hole in that tapestry, and the ecosystem is then weakened. And today, many ecosystems are so weakened that we are close to collapse. The silver lining here is that there's greater awareness, a greater understanding that we must change our ways, an understanding that we cannot have unlimited economic development on a world with finite natural resources and a growing population. And already in some places, those natural resources are used up faster than nature can replenish them. People are beginning to understand we need a new relationship with the natural world, a new and sustainable and greener economy. And JGI, in many ways, is helping us to move in this direction, because we are protecting forests and all the species that live there, and many other environments too. And we're educating and working with local communities and young people, helping to spread the message, helping them to understand. And so once again, I want to thank you for continuing to support our work during this very difficult year, despite the personal problems I know that many of you face. And because of all your support, we've been able to provide extra money to meet unbudgeted expenses to keep chimpanzees safe in our sanctuaries. Your help was desperately important for sanctuaries that have depended on visitor fees and donations. We've had to close the sanctuaries to keep the chimps safe. They can be infected with COVID-19 almost for sure, though luckily none of them so far have. We've done our best to keep safe the wild populations that we study and protect in Tanzania, Uganda, the Democratic Republic of Congo, the Republic of Congo, Senegal and Mali. And of course it's difficult. Chimps move in and out of protected areas, as do people. But we've done our best to close the areas to tourism at least, and to try and support and educate the local communities. This year has been especially difficult for young people and their parents and their teachers. So many children have been forced to isolate, sometimes in very small, cramped apartments, and denied the contact with their peers that is so important for their good development. And again, JGI has done its best to help, as our Roots and Shoots team has been providing activities that children can do at home and help them whenever possible to interact virtually, to connect virtually. And again, it's your help that's enabled us to keep these programs going. And now we're about to start a new year, 2021. We'd all hoped we should have said goodbye to the pandemic by now, but alas, in some countries infection rates and deaths are still high. But the good news, vaccines have already become available. Thousands of people have been vaccinated in China. The first people have now been vaccinated in the UK. And in other countries, time for vaccination is coming close. You've all heard me talk about my reasons for hope, and the human intellect is one of those reasons. Scientists have been working flat out to develop these vaccines and search for cures and more effective tests. And also, scientists have been working on innovative technology that can help us to fight climate change. And people are beginning to use their brains to think about ways that each one of us can live sustainably. The resilience of nature is another reason for hope. Destroyed habitats can be restored, and animal species on the brink of extinction given another chance. We're using our intellect to help solve the problems that we've created. And then, of course, a major reason for hope is our young people, and we're seeing them everywhere around the world rising to the challenge of the times. Finally, there is that indomitable spirit that drives us to try to tackle problems that seem insoluble, and so often we succeed and inspire others along the way. So let our New Year resolution, all of you JGI family be to leave light ecological footprints, to think about the impact we make each day, to make ethical choices in what we buy, move towards a plant-based diet. Together we can slow down climate change and the loss of biodiversity. We can reduce the gap between rich and poor. We can fight to eliminate discrimination, cruelty to animals, and ignorance. And we can work to achieve a more just world. When we work with head and heart in harmony, we can attain our human potential. It's happening. So in 2021, knowing that we can make this a better world, let's get together and raise a rallying cry. We can and we will work for the future of all life on planet Earth. So, one final time, my heartfelt gratitude for your support in these tough times and for giving me the strength to carry on. Thank you.